and welcome to the BumperBots Twitch stream.
When we last left off, I was explaining the best boiled egg.
That was a day ago.
This convention just keeps on going. Welcome everyone. Thank you again for joining. If this is your first time, thank you for joining for the first time. We're here to talk today about BumperBots, our brand new game, BumperBots on Titan. You are trying to establish a base on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. I actually don't know that. Is Titan Saturn's largest moon? Can someone in the comments Google that? Because I never actually looked at it. It's one of Saturn's moons. We'll go with that. Mars has been colonized. Everything has been taken over. Every board game for the last 5 years has been set on Mars. So we're venturing further out into the stars with our little army of chaotic bots as we try to establish a habitat on Titan.
It is the largest moon.
It is the largest moon. Woo! I guessed correctly. BumperBots is a 2 to 6 player game. It's quick to pick up. It's very easy to play. It's a very fun game. Maybe a little biased, but I think it is the best game that has ever been made. Almost. With most worker placement games, people are used to placing out their worker. They get resources, they complete challenges, they build different objects. BumperBots work slightly differently. Because you are trying to communicate from Earth all the way to Titan, communications aren't as great as they could be. So sometimes you're going to send your bots down and you're going to go, get me some of those resources, I need them to build. And those bots are going to go, what did you say? Go a mile south of here, can do. And you go, no, go back to where you were. Keep driving this direction, can do. So you are going to have to try and balance the chaoticness of space, workers who don't want to do what they're told, as well as other workers, as well as other players who are going to try and colonize Titan as well and take all the best resources from you. Each player will have a little army of, actually I'm going to use green because I think they're probably going to be easy to see from the camera. Each player will have a little army of stackable bots. These bots will be the workers you place out to try and get all the best resources. If you send a worker down by himself and say, gather me those 3 resources, a single worker is going to then, after you place him out, you're then going to roll a 6-sided dice. The 6-sided dice will either tell you to go north or south, east or west, or let you stay in place where you are. If you get to stay in place, happy days. If you have to go north or south, then your bot has to choose a direction and move either north or south. If you think, you know what, I absolutely have to have those resources, you can stack your bots. So instead of placing one out, why not place 2 of them out together? 2 bots, bigger antenna, they receive your signal a bit better. If that happens, you roll the 8-sided dice, and it gives you a much better chance of either staying where you are or moving in a direction of your choice. There's also a few little chaotic north, south, east and west in there just for grins. But if you think, you know what, I don't care what you say, I absolutely have to get those resources, you can plonk out a big honking 3 stacked robot and he will just land and go, this is where I was told to go. I'm going to get these resources and my humans will be happy with me. You can give a little pat on the head if you want. But other players will also be competing for these resources as well. So let's say you have landed your single bot, you rolled fantastically, he's decided to stay exactly in place where he is, and Owen here comes along and goes, no, I want those resources. He's going to land his bot down beside you, and knowing that the bot probably isn't going to stay where he is told to, he's going to roll a dice, and if he rolls east-west, which I did perfectly for a demo.
How did you do that?
His bot is going to come along and push mine out of the way. And he'll take over that fantastic new space, leaving me stranded out to the side. If I'm unlucky enough for him to push me into one of these little vortexes as well, my bot will be destroyed and returned back to my spares. But I will get a little token to remember him by that I can use to spend on getting new bots. I can use it on points, I can use it on resources, I can use it to re-roll dice. It's a very multifunctional little vortex token.
You probably won't remember the bot after that long.
No.
But it's a currency.
If your memory ain't what it used to be, at least you've got new currency. However, bots can be protected from bumping. So you might think, what's the point in putting out 3 bots? They're not getting me any extra resources. They're increasing your chances of getting the resources, but they're also serving a function of protecting you from bumping. So a double bot can't be bumped by a single bot. So no matter how hard Owen tries to push me into that vortex, it's not going to work. He's just going to bounce off me and have to move in the opposite direction. Owen might think, you know what, I really want to get that guy, so he's going to stack a double robot and he's going to push me out of the way. Or at least he's going to try anyway. If you have a triple stacked robot, they can't be pushed. A double bot can't push them either. So a bot can only push its same size or smaller. Unless you stick out a triple robot and decide to roll a dice. Just so you can push someone out of the way. It happens. It's hilarious. People think they're so safe. That is how placing bots and bumping bots works in this game. The other thing you're going to have to contend with is the storm, the vortex storm that's going to move across the board. Now to you it might look like I'm holding up nothing because we have, oh no look, I can see a bit of a sheen on it. I was going to say we have low DPI, no not DPI, PPI? No.
Pixels.
Pixels!
Pixels is fine.
This is why I have Owen do the technical stuff. Each round this storm will be placed on top of the board. It will line up with the round tracker so you'll know exactly where to place it. As the rounds progress, it will move across the board, and each round it will affect the gameplay. It will cover more and more of the board, and it will affect the way the bots move and which areas of the board are accessible or inaccessible.
Do you want to show that up?
Yeah.
Close up. Can you move this across the board while I hold this up? Let's do this.
Action shots.
So, I will do my best to line it up from this funny
There
angle.
we go. Yeah, you got that.
Yeah.
Works. That works.
So, the storm will line up with the board, and it will create extra gravitational pulls and more vortexes on the board itself.
Yeah.
Oh, digging into my stomach.
That was the one. Those were the spaces that Brian was using last time. He's pushing people into those spots, squares there, just in case you couldn't see them. The vortex and the resources.
When a bot moves on the board, it will move orthogonally, so north, south, east, or west. However, when the storm is out on the board, it can affect the way the bots are pulled about the board because of the different gravitational pulls from the vortexes. So, if I place a bot out and I roll and he gets to stay in place, fantastic. My bot will go there, he will stay there, he will do exactly what he's told. If I roll movement direction, north, south, east, or west, he will have to move, but instead of following the direction on the dice, he will be pulled along by the storm, usually towards a vortex that's going to destroy him and crush him up into a little memorial cube. Some of the spaces will move bots diagonally. Any bots bumped in the storm are going to be thrown around and follow along the path of the gravitational storm. So each round it completely changes the gameplay. Different vortexes make different resources inaccessible in each round. So you may have to strategically plan what you're going to get or how you're going to do it in each round. As you are gathering resources throughout the game, you may decide, I want to build a dome so I can get some colony points. So down the bottom of the board we have our colony points tracker. We have our build dome area, and when you place a bot on that, at the end of the round, after you've collected up all your resources, you will place a bot over on the dome tracker, which I'll swap it on. This dome tracker serves a few purposes. So when you place a bot out, it will get you colony points, which are the ultimate aim of the game, to have the most colony points. It will cost you a certain number of resources, as things always do. But as you, at the start of each new round, these domes that you have built will earn you resources themselves. So not only will you receive reinforcements of bots and resources from Earth, but the domes you build will also start producing things themselves. So the more domes you build, the more resources you're going to get each turn. That is the gist of how to play bumper bots. We might do a sample round just so people can have a look, and then if people are interested, we can do a kind of interactive one where you guys can suggest what we or how we should play or what way we should go.
If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop it in the chat, and we can answer them as well.
If anything isn't clear, if I've glossed over anything, or you want an explainer on anything on the board, please let me know. So.
Yeah, so it's a good struggle between lots of different players trying to get the resources they need off of Titan, and then they're going to build the domes on the other side of Titan to kind of build up their supply. So, yeah.
So, round one, first thing we need, I suppose, is our bots. I have the green guys over here, so I'll stick with the greens.
I'll take black then. The ghost. Each team of bots is controlled by a different team trying to get ahead of the other teams and set up the best habitat and colony on Titan, so that you can have the best setup for when the humans arrive shortly after you. But as everyone is competing and everyone is a different organization, they've all created these special little custom bots. Now, to the untrained eye, this may just look like a normal meeple. To the trained eye, it looks like a normal meeple as well. But when you read the rules, each of these little custom bots has their own power, their own abilities that you can use when you're gathering up your resources. In the final game, we might switch to different shapes, different things. We'll work on that as we prototype and playtest.
Yeah, we are still in prototype, and these are cool little stackable bots. But we'll be working on possibly having different shapes. If anyone knows any very convenient stackable shapes, please let us know, because they're hard to design 6 of them. So these little guys all have their own powers. My guy is...
Trying to go through this?
Yeah, each player has their own player card as well, which will detail... these are due for a little redesign as well, but it will detail the little powers of your custom bot. It will allow you to trade in resources for other resources. If you say have an abundance of red resources and you desperately need some yellows, you can use your board to trade it in. It will also give you some instructions on what you can use your vortex tokens for, and give you a run through your turn order. My custom bot, as you're seeing there, is the parasite. So it means that I can simply place my parasite down on top of any of Owen's bots. I don't have to roll a dice. If he pushes me off one of the best resources, I can just stick my guy down on top of him and I can get them as well. Owen's custom bot is the ghost. That's one of my favourite ones. The ghost basically pretends that there's nothing around him. He just moves around the board as if nothing else is happening. No one can bump him, no one can shove him out of the way. People just move around him and just act as if he's not there. So he is immune to all the bumping and all the divilment that goes on. What's an international word for divilment? Does anyone know that? That's a very Irish word, I feel. Mischief. Different custom bots are ones like the collector, so he can land on a space, he can gather up his resources, and he can reach out and grab resources from one of the neighbouring spaces as well. The likes of the miner lets you gather up resources twice. So you land down here on this one that has 3 different resources, and you can get 6 instead of the 3 that you'd normally get. I think that is the gist of bumper bots. So for the first round, we each start with 4 custom bots, or 4 bots and our custom bot. As the rounds progress, we will be sent reinforcements of bots from Earth, so we will get more and more. We can also gain new bots around the board, and by building certain domes and certain trackers, we can gain extra bots. We also have been kindly sent to Titan with a few resources for ourselves to get us started and to start building up our domes and our habitats. So keep all your spare bots to the side, because you're going to need them later in the game, and your control panel can be used to keep track of how many bots you still have. So in the game, to decide who goes first, it will be the player who has been closest to Titan without actually being on an aircraft, because planes don't make it to Titan. So who has jumped the highest, who has climbed the highest ladder, who has been up a mountain, who has been up the highest ladder on top of the highest mountain. That player will go first. If you own a very tall unicycle, that's also an acceptable reason to go first. Since I am about an inch taller than Owen, I'm going to say I am slightly closer to Titan, and I'm going to go first.
No. Fine. I was trying to think myself as to what I could say.
So, I am going to go first. This little spot here is usually a hotly contested spot because it has 3 different resources on it. So I'm going to place my little guy out here. Because he's placed out by himself, he rolls a 6-sided dice. And he stays in place. Brilliant. So
that's very lucky.
I get to leave that guy there. I'm rolling well today. This is not going as well for me yesterday.
Darn.
Alright. Owen, would you like to place out your bots?
I would. Yeah. I'm looking around and I'm thinking that this area here.
For your board.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Follow the rules, you say. So, I'm gonna go for this. This is a risky spot straight away. This spot here is lose 2 resources. Okay, doesn't sound like the best spot to go for, but if you're pushed away, you get pretty good resources. You get like blues and yellows and new bots. So I just have to make sure I don't get what Brian just got.
Ooh, north-south. So Owen can go either north or south with his bot. He goes north and gets 2 blue resources. Yep. All the resources will be collected up after everyone has placed out all of their bots. As people gain more bots and they use some for building domes, different people have different number of bots throughout the game. So it may not always progress at the same speed. The board itself acts like a planet, so you don't just fall off the edge. Sorry, flat earthers. Titan is definitely circular. If you go through the side of the board, you rotate around and come out the far side. Same if you go off the top, you loop around and come down the bottom. So if anyone pushes you through the wall, you can simply fly over to the other side. Okay, I am going to...
There's a lot of good spots.
There are a lot of good spots. A lot of good spots. I'm gonna place my guy out here. So I'm placing him on an empty tile, but I'm doing like Owen was doing, where if I move to something around, I increase my chances of getting something good. Now, since I'm placing my bot out on the storm, if I move in any direction at all, I'm going to be pulled in the direction of the storm, which will pull me down towards these 2 blue resources. So I'll place this guy out, I'll give it a roll. I stayed in place, so my bot very diligently went exactly where I told him to and was not affected by the storm and stayed on nothing.
Do you always hear stories about that in like NASA and stuff like that, where they'll send, especially the first moon landing, where they never really seem to land where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
Or they get there and there's a giant crater there and they're like, oh, we can't land there. So all this stuff happens all the time. But you know, we can have all the maths we want to get us there, but once we hit the planet, it's just...
This game is fun and educational.
I want to place it here.
Oh.
So it's kind of a semi-aggressive approach. I potentially could bump Brian's butt on Titan. He said the name of the game.
East-west, sucker.
And I'm going to go over here. And I still need the yellow and the green, so I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to take my bot, and I've decided I'm going to build a dome at the end of this turn. So I'm going to place my bot down here on the dome building track. So at the end of the turn, I'll use him to build one of my domes.
Nice. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. What to do, what to do. I will...
Just pick something.
Okay. Alright, I'll go here. I want to go here. Yeah, so I'm kind of going for like a new bot. But if I can get a new bot, then I can go one above and get out of it. If anybody has any questions, feel free to mention it in the chat.
Or suggestions for what don't you do.
Oh yeah, if you have any suggestions as well. I'm just kind of playing the first round. We're going to have an interactive demo next. But yeah, if you have any suggestions or if you're a bit confused, feel free to reach out. There's lots of different resources on play here. Some are negative. Some will lose resources or give other opponents resources, or make you lose bots, or everyone gains bots, or lose points. The idea behind that is when it's the end of the round, if you're playing with like lots and lots of people, you're not really sure how many resources you're actually going to get. And so you have to be kind of strategic, giving yourself lots of options on the domes you can build, and making sure you have some choices.
So I'm going to take this bot and I'm going to try to get another new bot with him. So if I stay there at the end of the round, I'll gain an extra bot. Oh, I'm rolling all stay there's this time.
Nice.
Can't normally do this at all. So in a 2-player game, there doesn't tend to be a lot of bumping initially at the start because there's only 2 of us with 4 or 5 bots each. Whereas as the game goes on, we'll get 10, 15, up to 20 different bots each. Oh, better put a bot out on our score tracker. We'll get up to 20 bots. So it can end up being very chaotic and everyone bumping everyone. And in a 3, 4, 5, 6 player game, it stays just as chaotic.
Oh my god, there. If I bump you, it doesn't matter.
Nope.
Oops.
Gonna have to give Owen a roll box. So Owen rolled north-south. So normally Owen's bot would push mine out of the way, but because Owen's playing with his custom bot, which is Ghost just moves around the board and pretends like nothing else is happening, no one else is there. He just strolls over onto my space and he gets the resources as well. I'm going to go ahead and use my custom bot and I'm going to place him out on Owen's.
I'm sorry if you can't see it.
My custom bot is Parasite, so I can just place him down on top of one of Owen's bots. If he's got good resources, I can get them too. Okay, so both of us have placed all of our bots. We move on to the next stage where we collect all our bots back. This works like an honesty policy, so rather than me picking up one, Owen picking up one, and going around the board, especially with 5 or 6 players, it takes forever. So grab your bots, grab whatever resources they give you, and then we'll move on to the building phase.
I usually take the bots back that haven't done anything. Yeah, but it's
that
totally
guy's giving me a new bot. That guy does nothing.
We'll go get these.
This guy gives me a yellow and a green because Owen was nice enough to gather a yellow and a green. And then this guy gives both of us a green, a blue, and a red.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
Not a yellow. Okay. So after we've collected up all our bots and we have all our resources, the next step is to build. So people will build in order that they have placed bots out. At the start of the game, it's not really critical because there's plenty of space and room for everyone to build all their bots. However, as the game progresses, excuse me, as the game progresses, there becomes less and less availability for the higher points and the more difficult and better resource domes. So as you get closer to the top of the board and you're building the domes that earn you the most points, maybe there's only 1 or 2 spaces available to build on. So you have to get there quickly. So you have to try and get your bots down early. But placing your bots down early, you might not have the resources. So you're then going to be scrambling to get all the resources afterwards. Or you can see how your bots place out. Maybe you're getting a lot of resources. And then you can go, oh yeah, I'll definitely have enough to build this. And you can place it out. But you gamble that someone isn't going to beat you to it. So I am going to start off. So in a 2 and 3 player game, this bottom row isn't in use just because there's less people competing for resources, so there's more resources available on the board. So in a 4 to 6 player game, this bottom row of domes comes into effect as well. But because there's only 2 of us, we're just going to ignore it for this turn and start building just above it. All domes have to be built from the bottom to the top, so you're building progressively better domes as you go. So because I did quite well with resources that turn, I'm going to place my bot out on this guy. This guy will give me 14 points. Now, he's not going to give me any resources, is the only downside, but he is giving me the most amount of points I can get. Now, he's going to cost me 2 reds, 2 blues, 2 greens, And now he's going to cost me 3 yellows, but I only have 2 yellows. Fortunately, I can trade in one of my vortex tokens and use that in place of any normal resource. So that bot I lost bravely getting that resource or getting that vortex cube, he will not be lost in vain. He's helping me build a habitat and gaining me 14 colony points.
Nice.
Getting off to an early lead.
I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to choose one with a little bit less victory points. It's only 7, but it does give me a green and a red every round. So I'm hoping that that'll kind of kick in later on. It only costs 2 yellow, 1 green, and 2 blue, and give me 7 colony points. So I'm already losing, but I get more things as we go along.
So different domes across the board will give you different benefits at the start of the round. So whether you gain resources, whether you gain new bots, more points, or more vortex tokens, you can tailor your strategy so that your engine is working in the background. Your domes are producing resources for you. So the more domes you build, the better they are, the more points you'll get, and the better you'll do in future rounds. So that is the end of the first round. As we move on to the second round, the storm moves across the board. So now it's taking up more space than it did previously. It's covering more of the area. First player token moves on. We receive our reinforcements from Earth. So in this case, we get 2 extra bots each. So 2 extra bots join us on Titan, available to place out.
I get dome stuff.
And then anything that you have earned from dome. So my dome doesn't give me any resources, so I don't gain any extra from that. The dome's own is built, give him a green and a red resource, so he already starts with extra resources this turn.
I can show you that as well. That close up of it.
Yeah.
So here is what comes from Earth. As it progresses, you're going to gain. As the rounds progress, you're going to gain different things. So as you can see, the rounds kind of ramp up, and then in round 4, you have to make some choices to make some points. But you can kind of see that you're going to get more and more bots as the game progresses. It's going to make it more and more chaotic. Cool. If anyone has any questions, feel free to mention it in the chat. But yeah.
Okay, and that is the gist of how you play bumper bots. We didn't actually do any bumping that round, but normally bumping happens quite a lot. With 2 players, there doesn't tend to be as much bumping early on, just due to the smaller number of bots. But as you can see, I'm already up to 7 bots where I started with 5, and Owen's up to 6. So as more and more bots come out, and as the domes get more and more expensive, there's more competition for resources, and there's eagerness to bump each other off the important resources.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're still working on the artwork and the but we love the team and a lot of the mechanics. We're still playtesting the numbers and stuff like that, but I think we've gotten in a good spot. We're open to any feedback anybody has. Feel free to reach out to us in social media or on mail list, whoever you kind of prefer to do it. But yeah, for the moment, we love playing this at lower counts and at higher counts. They all have totally different games that come out of it. We're working on some variants as well to make it a fast player game, and just stuff to kind of show off in demos and conventions. Although who knows when the next time we'll be at a convention is.
So we had hoped to have this game ready for convention season this year, but unfortunately, as some of you may know, there is a pandemic going on. So everything got locked down, and we didn't get our artist in to do the artwork on it, and we didn't pack it up in a fancy box and get it ready to go out to the conventions. So we've just been doing a little bit of playtesting ourselves, a little bit of tweaking here and there. Our hope is by the start of summer next year, some normality will have returned to the world. We'll be able to see you all at future conventions where we can do demos, we can show you all how it works, people can sit down and actually play the game, which we're really looking forward to. And all going well, we'll be launching on Kickstarter summer next year. And then it will look shiny, new, beautiful, And the best game.
No. That will be illegal. Saying stuff like that will also be illegal next year.
So that's the basic gist. I hope you have all enjoyed it. You can reach out to us, as Owen said, on any social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're on Discord. Just search for Decking Awesome Games on any of those, and you'll find us. I think in the background you can see most of our handles. If I lean out of the way a bit.
And just check below the video
Oh, that's
screen.
right. Directly below the video screen. Oh, I can actually point down. Ha ha ha. Just here. You'll find all the links to our social media. You can go onto our website and sign up to our mailing list if you want to be the first to hear about any big changes, advancements, any conventions we might eventually be making it to. So please do stay in touch and follow along if you're interested.
Yeah, so next up is going to be an interactive demo.
Yes. So do you want to just continue on?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe just restart 2 seconds.